Good morning, guys. Good morning. I just wanted to come on this beautiful Monday morning and say good morning, happy Monday, happy start of the new week for those of you who keep calendar time. I have found it much more peaceful when I'm able to detach from that calendar and that schedule when I am able, and I'm getting better and better at that slowly. Keeps me more present. I just wanted to come on and say hello and share some gratitude this week to start my week off with. It's been a really weird 2 weeks over here, and I'm sitting with that. I really love to watch the Schumann resonance and those kind of graphs and charts that follow the Earth's hum and heartbeat. And if you have followed that, or if you ever watch those, man, that thing's been all over the place lately. Numbers off the charts explains why a lot of us are probably so exhausted. But through this strange course of events, these last couple weeks, I have been given the opportunity to sit with myself, and sit with a lot of big feelings about different things, and reevaluate what I want to do with my life, where I want to go with my life. The music mom is still a huge part of me and always will be. And I'm still going to keep teaching piano. That's not going to stop. But I have to restructure what that's going to look like now for me, And I'm grateful I was given that opportunity this week. It's been a really eye-opening experience to be able to sit and witness myself, I don't think that's something that I was ever really able to do before this last maybe year or so. Just be with my feelings, just sit with them, and I got good at sitting with the good feelings, not so great at sitting with the not good feelings. And yeah, I've gotten to witness myself and just kind of watch, how do I want to respond to this? How do I want to show up? Something I say a lot with my kids is, your response is your responsibility. And we use that with a lot of awareness. I don't just throw it at them. We talk through the things and problem solve together. But what I have realized for myself too is my response is my responsibility. And that's something I learned years ago, especially working through a lot of my trauma. My triggers aren't other people's responsibilities. I can advocate for myself, and I can surround myself with people that are aware of my struggles, but my response is my responsibility, and I am so grateful for where it's gotten me to. I see this merge happening with my Facebook page and YouTube page a little bit happening, which is part of the reason that I'm allowing this to go live on the Music Mom. If you're seeing this, the Music Mom page started off kind of for the sake of business, but not really, more so I had some place separate to share my music and my personal experience, and then what my teaching journey was like. And I have found spiritually for myself over the last month what my why is. The Music Mom is a very spiritual thing for me. My lessons are very spiritually led, even if students don't realize it. It's very empathic, and if students are in rougher spaces or slower spaces, then we just go slower that day, But there is a lot of, if I'm not spiritually aligned and in tune, that makes it so that I'm not able to teach to the same degree. And because of the life stress over the last few weeks, my body is just physically shut down a bit, So I'm glad that I have gotten this perspective for myself. I have realized that I am a walking mirror. I'm a mirror for my students. I am a mirror for my kids. I'm a mirror for my partner. I'm a mirror for my friends. I'm a mirror for business associates. And I'm okay with that. I think there might be a bit of a name change going on here on Facebook. If you guys are from the Music Mom and seeing this, I will still continue to share my music through there, but I am getting a formal website put together finally, and you're going to see that more as the Untamed Mirror, because I am a mirror, and I'm not to be tamed. I think if more women would harness their untamable energy, the world would drastically change. Thinking about Mary Magdalene, and how closely she followed Jesus for all of those years. And then when Jesus passed and then rose again 3 days later, the first person he talks to is Mary Magdalene. And it's so funny to me because Peter and the other people, the men that followed Jesus, the apostles, didn't want to believe her. They were being very dismissive. But she held her story anyways and held strong. And I think about the women in the Bible, the mothers of the Bible. And there's not a lot of credit given to them. You know, we talk about the Virgin Mary and how insane it must have been, and you know how she was chosen by God to carry the miracle that was Jesus, right? And I don't know if there's truth to the actual science behind it, but I believe in the woo-woo. I believe in the miracles of the Bible, so I'll let that stand, right? I don't know. I wasn't there. But what I do know is that in everything that I've learned about that book, the women get very disregarded. Mary is seen through her pregnancy, and then she is seen as the person keeping Jesus' body safe for the first 12 years of his life, pretty much. But the whole focal point is on Jesus. Even when you see her name come back up when Jesus resurfaces, the most you hear about her is following Jesus. And I think she's referenced around the crucifixion, you know. But think about how different the world would be if instead of us standing all the time and asking, what would Jesus do? Instead of asking, what would Jesus do? We asked, what would Mary do? What would Martha do? I don't even remember her name. Think about Moses. Okay, go back to the Old Testament. Moses saved all of the Israelite people from Egyptian slavery, right? But how did Moses get there? How did he get there? His mom put him in a basket and sent him on his way down a river, right? And that whole story, I think it's in Genesis or Exodus, whatever, I don't remember specifically where it's at in the Bible, but think about, hi, Melissa, good morning. Thank you for the hello. Courtney, I see you're watching too, hello. Think about how different, though, the world would be, how different things could change if instead of saying, what would Jesus do? You said, wait a minute, what would a woman in the Bible do? Instead of one of the men in the Bible, what would a woman in the Bible do? And not to disregard the men. You know, Jesus, when he came, he had an incredible story to tell. And because of what was going on at the time, they would not have heard it from a woman, okay? So Jesus came with a message. But after he left, do you want to know who kept the... Hi, sunshine, I love that, Courtney. Do you want to know who kept the message the most after Jesus left and kept it the most intact? Historically, I'm pretty sure it was the women. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the women that continued following Jesus were later considered the witches and the heretics and stuff. I don't know about wise Melissa. I'm just here existing at this point, but thank you. But like, think about it though. Seriously, like, we don't need another Jesus right in this moment. We don't need somebody else to flip tables. Although tables need to be flipped, don't get me wrong. On so many levels like that, I'm Switzerland. I stay out of a lot of it now. But also, and we're not supposed to stay out of it. Jesus didn't stay out of it. But that's because at the time they needed men. Jesus and the 12 apostles were needed. The earth at that time needed that male leadership. But do you know what happened after Jesus left? Guys, it all got way worse, okay? Has any of this gotten better? Is this better than how it was when Jesus was here? I mean, seriously, is this better? Is this better? Because from my perspective, it's not. And even in some of the soul sessions I've done on YouTube and stuff, I went through and I'll go back to that, I'm sure. You know, I am the ministry mama and I am the music mom. But you know what I actually am? And you know what I'm now going to probably refer to myself as? I'm probably going to update my YouTube. I am the Untamed Mirror. And I'm going to stay that way. And I'm okay with that. My body's not, my nervous system's not, just talking about it has me shaking. But that's okay. Because that's what we need. We need more women that are willing to tap into that energy. Whether you're a mom or not. We need more men that are willing to get into their masculine and get out of their feminine, right? And now there needs to be balance. There needs to be balance. And I'm walking this with my partner right now. But there was a time that for me as a female, before I met Justin, that I had to be in my masculine fully. I've been very stuck in it, I think, most of my life. Which is so ironic because I raised so many kids when I was younger. You know, I was the oldest sibling. I was in nurseries. I held all the babies. I wanted to do that, right? I wanted to do that. But then when my life changed and my babies were thrown into survival and I was thrown into survival as a grown-up, my masculine energy took over. And that's not necessarily bad. That's not necessarily bad. But what I found for myself was the further I have stayed in my masculine, without even being aware of it, my spiritual journey for myself was so detached, was so shut off. This makes me cry to think about. 6 years ago I was still in the church, right? Mother's Day, I think I remember praying this. Well, let's see, he was born in 2017. So this was probably Mother's Day of 2018 or 2019 that I did this. I think it was 2018. He was a baby still. I remember sitting in the rocking chair while he was sleeping. And I was reading, actually, I might have been actually reading out of this Bible. It was either this Bible or the one I had right before this. And I was in Proverbs 31, right? I was in Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman. And she's so talked about in church circles, you know, because you want to be a virtuous woman. But it seems so unattainable. Even now, I just want to put it in context. This chapter was written by a man, okay? David was an incredible, I'm pretty sure this was David or Solomon. I can't remember which, my brain is fuzzy right now. But a female didn't write this chapter, okay? A female didn't write this chapter in the Bible. Hundreds of thousands of millions of women talk about this chapter in the Bible all the time, talking about women and how they should run their home this way, out of Proverbs 31, and it's an incredible chapter. But do you know where I found myself sitting 6 years ago? As a mother at 22 years old to 4 children, before I turned 22, because I didn't know how my body worked, right? I found myself sobbing and shame and guilt, praying for God to make me meek and quiet and to take away my voice, because that wasn't what they taught about in the women. In the churches, they were meek and quiet and humble. And that's not what I was humble. But I wasn't quiet. And I struggled with that. I'm surprised I'm not crying by this. You know, honestly, that's healing for me, because this memory used to just jerk me to my core. They meant well. David, Solomon, they have incredible chapters in this Bible that have helped me phenomenally. Even this chapter. But let's put it in context. Courtney, I'm glad you're seeing this. I figured it. I don't know who all's watching right now, but Courtney, I'm very glad you're seeing this. I thought it might resonate with you too. There's a handful of females specifically that I think about when I think about this journey for myself, that I've gotten to meet along the way. And Courtney, you're one of them. Melissa, you're actually one of them too, if you're still watching. And Tyler, I saw your hi and your amen. Hello, buddy. It's so nice to have you on here, bud. Thinking about Papadon all the time. All the time. I'm going to read through this chapter. I think this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to pull a card for everybody too. What would it be like? What would it be like if women came in their full feminine and men showed up in their healthy, full masculine like Jesus did, okay? I'm not going to refer to the other men in the Bible because they all have mess ups, and even Jesus he was perfect for what he walked. But in context, there's still a lot of things that Jesus did that would be considered controversial now. I don't know about any of that. But what I do know is that when I read this book, I take it for what I would like for it to mean for myself now in the present day, including Jesus' words in red. What would it be like to live in a world of balance? Okay, so the chapter starts off saying that this is from a different king altogether. I don't know who wrote this chapter. I'm just going to be very honest. I have no clue who put this chapter together. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. I just need to note that. Again, another mother that is nameless in the Bible. But she's there. And I also want to say, if I put down this book and stop reading it, it dismisses all of these women that I'm referring to right now. This is part of the reason I can't let this book go. There are so many unnamed females in this Bible. Their stories matter. Their stories matter, right? This mother who's not even named here. The words of King Lemuel. The prophecy that his mother taught him. But the king is the one who got a name in the chapter. I just want to note that. What, my son? And what the son of my womb? And what the son of my vows? Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law, and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. You know, I just want to stop and say, it's so funny because they talk all so much about this chapter being about females, and I didn't even realize that that whole first chapter, like the first 9 verses, first 10 verses, is specifically talking to men. Jax, if you're on here, hi sis. It's just saw your name pop up. Hi, I love you. Lest they drink and forget the law, and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. You know, it's really funny. I grew up being taught that alcohol was really, really wrong. And my grandma Ruby, actually her picture's sitting right here, she would keep a bottle of wine in her fridge. And I remember as a kid seeing it in there. I remember going to my grandma's house in Alabama and seeing alcohol. And it was never a lot. But she would always say, she would quote Proverbs and how wine was good for the stomach, you know. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. Let him drink and forget his poverty and remember his misery no more. This mother's prophecy that's being spoken here is literally talking about the medicinal side of alcohol. Open thy mouth for the dumb, in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all, such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. That was Proverbs 31, verses 1 through 9. I'm reading in a King James Bible for anybody that's seeing this. Verse 10 is where the women's chapters, like the women's verses would start, right? And this was the section that I would read over and over and over again years ago, begging God to make me different and to take away my voice and to make me quieter and meeker. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. But honestly, knowing that this was actually a prophecy given by a woman, that just gives this whole new context to me and so much more love. And I cannot believe that that verse has been missed in my 30 years. Prophecy that his mother taught him. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no seed of spoil. And can I also just say, when she's talking about, or when they're talking about husband here, There wasn't legal documents and papers in place like we have now. Context. She will do him good, and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night. Oh, that resonates so much. I have so many sleepless nights anymore. And not in a bad way. That's when my kitchen gets clean. That's when I paint sometimes. That's when I create. I haven't read this chapter in years. So you guys are just not gonna, you're going to have to excuse the emotions. This is all very intuitive and it does stay that way, right? She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat, prepares food for her household, and a portion to her maidens, her help. She considereth a field, and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengthened her arms. I don't know where some man put in my head that females were supposed to be soft. But that is not what the hell this chapter is saying. And I think more women need to preach it. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good, and her candle goeth not out by night. She works continuously because she knows what she has is good to offer. Oh, Jerry, Jesus, whoever, thank you. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor, yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. Scarlet in the Old Testament was the finest garment, right? Very expensive. She's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She knows they're taken care of. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple, rich and fine. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. I also want to note here that the King James Bible specifically, after each verse, you'll see different notes and stuff. Super tiny words. Sometimes they're different references to different portions of the Bible that relate to that scripture as well. Sometimes, if there's a word that seems strange, it's a better explanation of the word that's being read. But after that verse that I just read, Psalms 31, verse 23, her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. Not only does that reference another verse here in Proverbs, but it flips back to Ruth. Ruth, the one who was, that is a whole nother powerful story. If you know the story of Ruth, she was not a soft person. Her life made it so that she could not be soft. But that's the female, that's the scripture that's referenced here. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. And that's what Ruth's partner, I don't even remember, Boaz, I think was his name. He was a very well-known person, and he chose Ruth because of how different she was, and how unique she was, and how strong she was. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Oh, I needed this. Thank you. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. And Lord, here in the Old Testament, there wasn't a Jesus yet, okay? There wasn't a Jesus yet. So Lord in the Old Testament was not referring to Jesus. Lord was referring to Source, God, your higher self, the universe, the one you connect to, whatever phrasing that is, because it's different for everyone. The Bible, this specific book, is just very Christian, right? That's who it was meant for, was the followers of Christ. So that's who this message is written for. But the other religions, they're all saying very similar things. We should start swapping some notes. I'm just saying, maybe even if Christian or if like religion and science would swap some notes, holy cow, they would find where the miracles work in the middle. They would find where the woo-woo is in the middle. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. And that was the last verse. Oh, I am buzzing right now with the energy coursing through my body. I don't know what man told me along the way that women were supposed to be soft and gentle. I just read Proverbs 31, and that's not in there. If you're a female reading this, or watching this, and you are a Christian, or have been disdained and icked by the Christian churches, I encourage you to go pick up a Bible for yourself. And just see what it says. Because I didn't know where I was going to go when I started this live. I didn't know if I was going to pick up my Bible. I didn't know if I was going to pull cards. Spirit said go live, so I went live. But my heart needed that. Because ironically enough, 6 years ago, I started praying in my baby's nursery that I could become that woman. And here I am 6 years later, haven't darkened the door of a Baptist church and I don't even know how long. And reading that chapter now, I am more that woman than I have ever been in my entire life. That's some damn healing right there. That'll preach, like they like to say. Oh, thank you so much for that. I'm going to pull a card for us collectively before I get off. If anybody would like an individual card, please feel free to reach out. If you are seeing this attached to the Music Mom, and that is how you've come across this video, there's a shift going on there. And I'll post more about it. And if you're one of my students' parents that's seeing this, don't worry. My plan is still to start teaching up again in a few weeks. But I am an untamed mirror. And I'm going to stay that way. Because maybe it'll encourage more females to become more feminine. Not that being masculine is bad. Hi, Karen. Thank you for the love and hugs. Maybe if we were more in our feminine, the world would be a safer place. This is going to go deep. I can't even fathom the fact that there is no place in that entire chapter that talks about being meek and quiet. And I swore I read that. I swore that's what that chapter said for years. Because of what all the men in my life told me. Look at my new rock. Next to my beautiful new Mother Earth statue. Oh, I didn't know what deck I was going to use. I'm going to go back to my Love Who You Are deck. I got 3 decks sitting here. I got 2 more sitting on the table behind the camera. I got a bunch of them sitting upstairs. My Bible's sitting here. I am thoroughly loving what this is turning into. I got this rock, Courtney, at the friggin' flea market, okay? The flea market in Greer. If you guys are local to Greenville, you need to go to this flea market. And I think his name is like, the store is like Uncle Bob's Caves and Rocks or something. I got this huge rock for super cheap. Gift from the universe. It's Labradorite. I think that's how you say it. I love that rock so much. Oh, okay. What do you have for whoever's watching this now or going to watch this in the future? What do you have for me? Thank you so much for that scripture. Man, I did not know what I was getting on here to talk about this morning. That was a fumble. My hands are so shaky, but I'm just going to see what they are. Not a fumble. That is not a fumble. Sorry. Not a fumble. I'm a big numbers person. The number here is card number 6 and also card number 12, which is why that stands out to me. And I know it's supposed to be that way because I'm a numbers person. This is a bird that says receive all things on it. It's got 2 butterflies. Yeah, a yellow butterfly and a blue butterfly. Okay. And this one is Unfold Your Own Myth, number 12. It's a seashell. Have a good day, Tyler. Thanks for jumping on, buddy. I hope you have a great day, too. All right. Card number 6. Receive all the things. Flowers. 6 years ago, I started praying about that specifically. Yeah, Court. 6. Yeah, there's that number again. Thank you for pointing that out. It took me a second to process that. But yeah, 6 years ago. Receive all the things. Flowers don't refuse the rain. And all of nature's creatures benefit from the sun without striving for its favor. You don't have to earn, prove, or produce in order to be worthy. You don't have to earn, prove, or produce in order to be worthy. You are worthy right now, as is. Life is give and take, and yet take got a bad rap somewhere along the way. But it's nature's way. Just like a rose bush offers fragrance and beauty, it needs to receive all the elements in order to bloom. Ultra independence is a trauma response. Hypermasculine. And you're too lovely to live in trauma any longer. Thank you so much for that. And number 12. Courtney. Yes, I'll look that number up later for sure, Court. Unfold Your Own Myth, the seashell. Don't settle for others' stories. Don't settle for others' stories or the tales of how it went for those who took the path before you. Considering what I was just saying, oh my gosh, is anybody else hearing this? Don't settle for others' stories or their version of a story or their version of the Bible, their reading of the Bible. Don't settle for others' stories or the tales of how it went for those who took the path before you. No one has ever lived on this planet with your particular thoughts, your dreams, your skills, or your specific genius. The magic inside of you is one of a kind. Use it to unfold the truest and most beautiful version of your life. It doesn't need to look like anyone else's magic. Just your own. I just want to note the relativity between those two cards. Oh my gosh. Like the first one we were talking about, I need to go back and look at that one more time because that's like, holy cow. If you're hearing this and you feel like you're going through a questionable stage right now with your job, your employment, your income, if you're just flat out broke like the rest of us because the world is out there going to, hey, trust your own gut. Like that is so much being what's said here. Literally receive all the things, okay? Flowers don't refuse the rain, okay? So be grateful for the hard things, but recognize you're too lovely to live in that trauma. And if you want to get out of the trauma, unfold your own myth. Don't settle for others' stories or the tales of how it went for those who took the path before you. Use that big, beautiful brain of yours. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that thy soul knoweth right well. I love you too, Courtney. And thank you so much for the support, Karen. I'm glad you got to pop on for a couple minutes. I always love seeing your name pop up on my Facebook stuff. Before I get off, I'm going to share this little poem with you guys. I am safe in my body. I am safe in my brain. I move with intention, with love and with aim. I take what is mine, and I leave what is theirs. I know I'm protected, and I come prepared. If you're just jumping on, thanks for the support. You have a great 35-minute video to watch, 37 minutes, whatever it's been now. Thank you for witnessing me on this journey. I'm going to update the caption to kind of, I don't know, reflect what we just spoke about, because man, the women in the Bible are coming through. Whew. Proverbs 31 had some things to say today, and I am here for it. That just put me in the best space to continue my day. I've got some doctor's appointments, some labs, my body to continue to learn to take better care of and continue to give space for. But I'm going to move through my day knowing with all the confirmation in my gut that I am that Proverbs 31 woman. And a pastor doesn't have to confirm that for me. I am the Proverbs 31 woman, and I'm going to encourage other women to do the same. I'm going to stay that untamed mirror. And hopefully, I'll start attracting more of my people. I hope you all have a fabulous Monday. And if you've watched this and stuck around with me, I appreciate it. I'm sure these lives are going to get uploaded to the YouTube page at some point. I am not working right now still. If anybody feels aligned or has a desire to help me, I'm going to post that Facebook post just in the comments below, and you guys can go over there. But I'm just continuing to trust Spirit and Source there. So yeah. Alright guys, I love you all so very much. If you've watched this, thank you. Have a beautiful, beautiful Monday. Remember, you are loved, you are safe, you are protected. And if you need an external reminder, if you need external validation, if you need just a shoulder to cry on or support, reach out. If you've got my number, text me. I am here. Bye guys.